Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. I'm going to give you my financial opinions as I go through it. And if you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. You can use the word discount in the coupon code if you'd like to join our community. So let's dive in. Let's see what's going on in the markets. We're going to start with the DXY. DXY looking like a pretty weak bounce here. So again, I'm going to remain that this is going to go down based off of what I'm seeing in the candlesticks. It's this large down candlestick that I'm looking at and the weak bounce that is coming back up. Generally what I see is when I see multiple days coming up like this that are real small, it generally ends up rolling over. And we can see that as you come upwards, you can see that we're kind of falling back down, even though this could be a flag pattern. Doesn't look too great in the circle there. Yields are also falling, which makes me think that the DXY could fall with it. So when we look at yields, the 2-year yield, it's popped out of its kind of angled upward channel, popped out right there, that red day, boom. And it popped out in like a forceful fashion. I don't see much of a bounce here anywhere in these little candlesticks. So it makes me think that we could still pull back even further. The 10-year, we've pulled back, a bunch today, about 2%. But is this going to find some footing here where it comes up and then maybe we come back down, nice little shoulder, head, shoulder, and maybe we do something on the lines of that? Because the dollar does look a little bit weak, which makes me think yields could be weak. And if I see weaker yields, then it makes me think the dollar is going to be weak. And they kind of feed off each other. So let's see if we get support here, if we get a bounce, or if we just blast straight lower. Looking at the short term, this is what the short term looks like. There's line chart there. Could this be kind of a bounce and then like a double bottom? We'll see. Again, we'll see. We're going to need more data here. We could be coming on down here. Coming back to maybe even the 3-point-something% range, 4% range, somewhere in that range is possible on the 10-year yield. TYX following whatever TNX is doing, the 10-year. So 30-year and the 10-year, very similar today. Both down about 1.9-something%. Again, we'll see if we get a bounce higher and then another one that rolls over roughly at that kind of peak, which would be a shoulder, head, shoulder, if it were to bounce up like that. TYX, TNX ratio still flat, not really. Curve isn't uninverting. We were basically flat today. Bond prices, there we are with bond prices. They're up today, 1.5%. Are we going to kind of break through this, or are we going to come back down like that? Which is an inverted shoulder, head, shoulder. You can see how those are, the yields are inverse of bond prices. The 2 and 10 curve actually inverted further today as the long end, the 10-year, went down and the 2-year went down, but it went down just a little bit compared to the 10-year. So the yield curve is remaining inverted. And we could go higher with the yield curve. So interesting data here. I mean, we're really sitting on top of this pattern for a while here. And I'm surprised that we're just continuing to stay on top of it. I was looking for a move or a break lower, but we are continuing to stay above it. And we'll see how long we can keep this yield curve inverted. Gold down a little bit, but it was bought up throughout the day. So if you look at the back half of the day, it came back up. And this is on a really short-term basis here, but it does look like we've got some sort of rising wedge So maybe we puke again to the downside. I don't know. We'll see which way this thing breaks. But gold, I am still bullish on gold, irrespective of what this short term does there. If it comes back down, I'm still bullish and think that it's going to go up in the medium term. So I'm still bullish. We've got a bullish candlestick. That's a hammer candlestick. We'll see if we can get a bounce here. Silver, it was lower today. Obviously, we're trying to break through this neckline. Didn't happen. Hold on back. And we have a little wick at the bottom. Here's the 5-day. There's the 5-day just bouncing back and forth. We came back off the bottom, but again, let's see where this thing goes. You could maybe draw it across, kind of a shoulder, a head, and maybe a shoulder on a 5-minute chart. But again, we'll see if we can get some momentum to the upside. In platinum down, we're back within the pattern again. We are starting to break out of this bad boy. In the past 2 days, we got clobbered. Some people will say, oh, it's manipulation. I don't really know, but we're back within the pattern. And then palladium also getting smoked to the downside. Could this be an ultimate false breakdown down here where we move lower before going higher, like a washout sale? That's something I'll watch for. I don't think I'm going to do anything with it, but I'll just watch it. XAU to gold ratio down 2%. Gold and silver mining companies underperforming gold itself, and gold did sell off, but we're back against that support level again. We've got the CRB index selling off kind of big. We're back towards the lower end of this support that I drew in there. And that's mainly from oil selling off today. Like you haven't noticed if you own oil or energy service stocks. But sold off today, more towards the bottom end of that support zone. We've got CRB to S&P. That's also selling off. We are heading a little bit lower. Maybe we've got like an A, B, C correction before heading on up. If we throw a fib retracement on this bad boy, a lot of the times the retracements can go to 0.618. So in this area down here, and that's possible. If we get a slowdown in the market, we could see a further pullback of the CRB in this ratio and in oil. GDX, right at resistance, right underneath resistance. GDXJ, again, we're same thing. We're just underneath resistance right now. We got to try to make our way up. We've got crude oil down 4.2%. And it does look like we could get further downside with crude oil in the short term. So we came on up, broke down, rested on support. Now we're breaking that and heading lower. And it looks like that could continue to some level. We've got support basically right where we're at, all the way down to about $66, $67, somewhere down there. We've got Dutch natural gas up 3.9%, still above all the support, and it still looks good to go higher. Natural gas, big down day today, and it came back up. We were down 2.7%, still above support. Everything looks okay. We've got pretty warm weather, at least where I'm at, and I know no one's using natural gas today. We're in the 70s. XOP, yeah, you know me, falling on back from its neckline today, down 2.8. We do have a little bit of buying pressure towards the end of the day. It's not huge, but we gap down towards that, and we kind of fought our way back up slowly throughout the day. So, again, it doesn't look that great with oil, so this could pull back further to the downside in the short term. The candlestick doesn't look too bad. Again, we'll see over the next few trading days what that looks like, but we're up against resistance of that neckline. OIH also selling off pretty strong today, down 4.4%. And I drew this in there. It's kind of a channel going down. It still looks okay. I mean, we've got big buying pressure, sell-off, big buying pressure. We've got, maybe a sell-off here towards the bottom end of this channel. We're getting weakness in the short term. That is obviously occurring. And we could see further weakness as this is a pretty strong selling pressure day. We'll see. Again, we'll see where it goes. I'll talk about my thoughts kind of at the end of this. Sprout Physical Uranium Trust up 1.8. Looks like it's trying to put something in here. Maybe it's trying to bottom. But again, guys, my view is we break these big patterns, and then we stair step upwards like that. So I don't really do anything in the short term. And I know some people, I'll say probably could be, all these different terms because I don't know the exact direction. Usually what I'll see, if I was a trader here trading this, I would have bought the crap out of it here, right? Wrote it up, and then I would have maybe sold it there if it was a short-term little trade. But I'm not trading this. I'm going to just keep holding on. We're in a bull market. So there's no reason for me to try to time this short-term stuff over here. But it looks like we're trying to put in some sort of bottom. URA also trying to get bought up a little bit. It's not, it's close to a reversal candlestick, but technically, it's real close. Could be a bullish piercing. I don't know if this is the 50th percentile, but it did have a reversal. You can see it here. Comes on down and reverses back up. So that is a reversal candlestick in my opinion, and we'll see if we can get a bounce to the upside. URNM also trying to bounce. Same with URNJ. They all have the same setup. And we've come on down, and we can look at the 5-day here, you can see how this came on down. And it looks like we're trying to bounce here. Kind of a broken downtrend line on the short term. So that's the bounce that I'm looking at, and we'll see if we can get some momentum to the upside. TAN, just moving sideways today. Momentum still to the downside, so I wouldn't jump in front of that. We've got COPX also getting some selling pressure today. To me, it looks like it still wants to go lower. This is the bearish engulfing there. We came back. Pretty strong selling pressure day. Again, I think we're going to continue to go lower, probably to this support level at about 30 bucks. We've got lithium. Looks like we've got some selling pressure there. Again, we have not broken that downtrend line. Still think we can go lower. REMX also heading lower, and we still haven't broken this trend line here. So again, I think we could still go lower if it decides to keep going. The momentum's to the downside. The S&P 500's up, but we're up against resistance, and we'll see if we break it. We've got NASDAQ that's kind of peeking its head through. It broke out to the upside. That's a clear break, and we'll see if we can get some momentum to the upside in the U.S. Composite Index. Is this going to be eventually a double top? We'll see. KRE does not look bad at all. Actually, this looks very strong. Nice break of this downtrend line. We've got a little bit of a gap here. Maybe it's going to fill that on a really slow selling pressure, and I think it's going to move to the upside. If yields continue to go lower, I think regional banking looks better and better. We've got emerging markets down slightly, but this is still looking very good. We've broken this pattern to the upside, and we're up against resistance. That's what we have to break next. XHB, the home builders, acting very much like the regional banks, just small selling pressure. So I think we're going higher in home builders and higher in regional banks. We've got MOO. MOO gapped a little bit lower today, down 1.25%. But we'll see if it can do a standoff here. I think we're going to move sideways and base out. Copper heading a little bit lower. Hang on. This is a bullish engulfing here. It's trying to move up, but we're right up against resistance. We had a little bit of a selling pressure, but we had buyers come in towards the end of the day. And we pushed it up towards the end of the day. So we got sold off. Buyers came in and pushed it up towards the end of the day. So again, we're right up against resistance. We'll have to wait and see if we break or if we roll over. I don't know yet. If the market is weak, it will roll over. If the market is strong, it's going to break through. Iron ore, still looking fantastic for a move higher in iron ore. That looks really good. nickel's chart, that's just jacked. Going back to aluminum. Aluminum down a little bit. We're right up against resistance, but that is a bloody nose where we could continue higher. I like how we get big green candlesticks, small red candlesticks, and the stair-stepping pattern. Baltic Dry Index up 4%, and we're right at that resistance, that strong resistance line that we have hit a billion times in history. We've got Newcastle Coal up 0.82%, and I think it's not a bad spot to be looking down here if we base out down here. And I think that about energy in general. So I'll make some comments here after this. Bitcoin's looking good, up 1.4%. Weird looking candlesticks all through here. This thing is trading really weird, but either way, it still looks like we could go higher. And Ethereum's down a little bit, but again, this thing still looks like we could go on higher in the short term. So what am I seeing here? To me, it looks like the markets are slowing down, and obviously we've seen that in the M2 money supply. It looks like that is having an impact now on inflation-sensitive assets. Now, interest rates went to a level that were pretty high. It choked off a lot of bank lending, and KRE pulled back, homebuilders pulled back. Those are kind of our leading indicator guys. When they pulled back, the sales volume in real estate, the lending and all that stuff, that is now going to be felt, I think, now. So we could get a slowdown. And what we want to see is if rates fall, like they are, we want to see if housing starts and home builders and regional banking take off, because they're going to be the ones that lead a lot of the commodities. That's where the bank lending is coming from. So that is what I'm looking at right now. I think it's going to take off. I see the home builders being quite resilient. I see regional banking resilient. If we see housing starts kick up, more lending comes into the system, eventually that lending will show up in inflation and kick all of our commodity sector back up. So right now, we're getting a slowdown. We could see some further downside with some of these sectors. They're closing quite strong to the downside. So that's what I'm seeing today, guys. Give me a thumb up, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the website if you guys need any help, and we'll catch you guys later. This is Finding Value.